Travis went good, so I guess it's necessary to again do another video teaching you guys how to do actual research, and specifically into church history. So we'll go to Joseph Smith Jr. because he's supposedly our founder. That's what we're told by this church. So we go to the Wikipedia page. And it says, Smith was born, it's under early years, 1805 to 1827. Smith was born December 23rd, 1805. That's an important date to remember. I've instructed you previously that if you're going to do a thorough and accurate research, you need to have separate categories, whether it's on your computer system or on paper, for each person, for each place, for each event, for each date. And you need to put in all of the information in each category. So for Joseph Smith Jr., you have the person, Joseph Smith Jr., born December 23rd, 1805. And then in the date, December 23rd, 1805, Joseph Smith Jr. is born. Okay? You need to be able to cross-reference. And so he says, on the border between southern Royalton and Sharon, Vermont, to Lucy Mack Smith and her husband, Joseph Smith Sr. Should have been father first, but nonetheless, we then have a place, Sharon, Windsor County, Vermont, is what it is when you look it up. And so then you go to Google Maps to confirm it. Is it legitimate? Boom. Yes. We now know the location of Sharon, Windsor County, Vermont. Okay. So far it seems simple. It's going to get more complicated. So Joseph Smith Sr. God, go away. I'm not donating to you. Joseph Smith Sr. was born July 12, 1771 in Topsfield, Massachusetts. So again, same thing in each person, date, and place. And you confirm Topsfield, Massachusetts. It's legitimate. And then, yes, you would need to do research on Lucy Mack Smith as well, and so on. Every single thing needs to be fact-checked. You can't just assume Wikipedia is correct, because it's not correct in all cases. Okay. And so they kind of jumped the gun here. Smith tried his hand. It's a plural singularity, but nonetheless, had several professions, including farmer, teacher, shopkeeper, none of which proved very successful. I noticed they didn't put dowser. That wasn't successful either. He moved his family to Palmyra, New York in 1816. Okay, so you've got an event, moved. The place, Palmyra. The date, 1816. And began making payments on a farm, the edge of the neighborhood, Manchester Township. That wasn't until 1818. They got the wrong information in there already, but you don't know that yet. But again, here we have Manchester Township, you'd fact check it to see where it is in relation to Palmyra. So you see that it's just south. And then you find out he was raised to the degree of Master Mason. Aren't they the satanic people? Don't let your biases interfere in your investigation. You're going to have to dismiss what you find out is false, that you've been incorrectly told, that you've been misinformed on YouTube, by YouTube. He was, on May 7th, 1818, in Ontario Lodge number 23 of Canandaigua, New York. That can be verified. I don't know why they didn't do that here. They should have put the citation in. They chose not to, or maybe the church kicked it out. It says in the Palmyra, Manchester area. When you check on the maps, you'll see Palmyra's on top, Manchester's here, Canandaigua is over here. And it would actually be over here because the camera reverses it for you on the screen. So it's slightly southwest. And so you'd need to find out. When you do find the source for this citation that's missing, you'll see that Hiram was also a member of the lodge in Palmyra before 1826. And so this right here, I've told you over and over again, Canandaigua, New York, is key and crucial, because when you get to the life of Heber C. Kimball, because you've now learned all about the York Rites Lodge of Ontario in Canandaigua, New York, you now know the duties and responsibilities of a Master Mason. And so when you get to Heber C. Kimball's life, you will get to the part under Masonry. And he says, in 1824, he sent a petition to the chapter at Canandaigua, New York. To receive the York Rite degree of Royal Arch Masonry. His petition was accepted, although, as he reported, anti-Masons had burned down the chapter building in Canandaigua. Why doesn't he mention Joseph Smith Sr.? Because we have his records. Why don't we have Kimball's records? Kimball says we don't have his records because it was burned down. But we have Joseph Smith Sr.'s records. What's going on? There's a conflict here, isn't there? One of these two are lying, and we know that it's Heber, because we've already verified Joseph Smith Sr. So let's click on Anti-Masons, also known as the Anti-Masonic Movement. And it says, the party was founded in the aftermath of the disappearance of William Morgan. So now we got to find out who William Morgan is. So you click on William Morgan, and then you go down to the disappearance, because that's what it was saying. And then you read, on September 11th. Wow, 9/11 in your date category. 1826. Who's still the Master Mason? Who's not mentioned? Because you've had all these things set up, you now can go to Morgan was arrested for non-payment. Morgan was jailed in Canandaigua, New York. You now have a common place for Heber C. Kimball, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., or not Joseph Fielding, Joseph Smith Sr., in your Canandaigua, New York. And you check, because you've got all of the information contained in each paper, you then see that Heber C. Kimball is actually the threat. And so you also learn that he was writing a book. What happened to the book? Again, you've already done your research. You already know the duties and responsibilities of a Master Mason. Joseph Smith Sr. would have, because of his duty, taken on the responsibility to make sure the book got finished. And so then we look back in Joseph Smith Sr.'s life. Was there any book that emerged that could help explain what the book was that William Morgan was working on but didn't get to finish? Ta-da! Real LDS church history. You let the facts and the evidence lead the narrative. You don't impose your biases. Like a certain author who said that Joseph Smith Sr. was a drunken bum. What you see here from the facts and the evidence is Joseph Smith Sr. is an American hero who saved America and made sure the book was finished so that we could be saved in the latter days. And oops, you've already missed the Exodus in 2020. You've missed saving America and the Constitution. And there's more to come that you're going to miss. Because you didn't adhere to the precepts of the Book of Mormon. You all claim with your lips that the Book of Mormon is true, and that you cry knowing from the spiritual witness that it's about Jesus, and you've missed the message that was supposed to save your life. So, good job. You've borne false witness, and you're suffering the consequences because you didn't do real church history research. You trusted this church that had Heber C. Kimball, who we've established is lying to us. And who do liars adhere to? Lucifer. And so when you do the research on Heber C. Kimball and Brigham Young and their branch off, now you understand what this church is. It's the great and abominable church spoken of in the Book of Mormon.